Oh, good, and here's Bonnie coming on too. So that's everyone accounted for. So the minutes of the November 11th meeting, Bonnie, thank you for a couple of really good catches in terms of being just a little more specific about how we want to say things. What Bonnie has suggested, Bonnie, if you're on, do you want to talk about the changes? Okay, so maybe you're still getting connected. So under grants, at the bottom of that first paragraph, she took out these dollars could go directly to transportation, and just that money would be earmarked for disability. And she said we could possibly partner with the police regarding ticketing, and she took out to do a more aggressive job getting fees. So I think just to make it a little more specific about what we were doing. And then on the last page, it's like the third line down where Bonnie's quoted. She removed the "in giving money, we will be making ourselves known." And what she's suggesting is when we gift the monies, we could do a press release to let the community know about our work in the town. So, and Janet, I know that Bonnie sent those to you as well. So you can, you're muted, Janet.
That's fine. That's.
Yeah. Are there any other changes or additions, deletions with the minutes?
Well,
Mary Beth, yeah.
Yeah, I'm quoted here as saying something that was wrong.
Okay.
And after I said it, I realized it was wrong, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I confused the community chest with Hugh Cargill. So I apologize. Take that." So might as well just take that out so somebody doesn't see it and say, "Oh, look, they're confusing." You know, it's just, I mean, right away I said, "Oh, no, I'm making a mistake." So just let's get rid of it.
That sounds good.
You're talking about on the last page?
It's the last page, and I think it is the last, it's not really broken into paragraphs, but
Yeah.
it's you're quoted, it says Jean hyphen community chest publicizes projects. Then above that, it says Mary Beth. I like the idea of the community chest, but let me see. But they don't advertise what they give. I think we want to evaluate that more closely. If we're doing it to increase our profile. And so then what happened, as I recall, is somebody, I think I caught on to the idea that I was confusing. Somebody said, no, the community chest publishes a little thing about what they've done, what they give. And then I realized I was confusing it with Hugh Cargill. So I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal. I don't care, but it's just.
For clarity, that makes sense.
It should be accurate, so it makes it.
Yeah, so just take out that whole Mary Beth quote.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other changes to the minutes? Does someone want to make a motion?
I'd like to
accept
move.
the minutes as changed. Okay. Meryl, thank you. A second?
Second.
Okay, Karen, thank you. Janet, you'll have to unmute yourself and go around and ask people for their vote.
Okay, Susan.
Oh, Susan, you're muted too.
Okay, Jean,
Yes, I approve.
Meryl,
Yes.
Karen,
I approve.
Jennifer,
I approve.
Bonnie.
I approve.
Okay, that's it, right?
Mary
Thank
Beth,
you.
I approve.
And Mary Beth. Oh, you went on my screen. Okay, Mary Beth.
I approve.
Okay. And Susan?
Susan,
Mhm. I approve.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. So in the old business, transportation home from the emergency room, I know that Acton COD had a meeting yesterday with some, I think the social workers from the hospital, I'm not sure. I was not able to attend that, but Janet, you were at that meeting? You're muted again.
I was, and I took copious notes and I have lost them.
Oh,
They've gone off my machine. My Microsoft has been giving me a lot of trouble and it just ate what I wrote. But Franny, who ran the meeting, also took notes and she's going to send them out. But it was a good meeting. There were people from Acton. I think Franny is, I think, from Maynard. And they're going to meet again in a week. So you have, but I said that I would be at that one, but Jean, I think they were expecting that you might go to that, to the next one.
yeah, I should be able to go to that one.
But I kind of got invested in it after I was listening to them, so I don't mind sitting in the next one.
Good.
But people talked about what the difficult, there were two people from the hospital there. And they verified everything that we had said last meeting, or that somebody had said. I've forgotten who was it. Mary Beth had brought up at the last meeting. They verified all of everything that we had said, that that people get there and they get stuck, and sometimes they have people in the emergency room for like 3 days, just not for for a variety of reasons, like nobody at home or whatever. But there were some good questions. I'll wait till Franny sends out her notes and you'll get a copy of that. I'm going to try to
Okay.
recap the meeting because I couldn't do it accurately. It was a good meeting. I mean, people were very, I just am always impressed with people who have other people's interests at heart. And that's the way I felt about all the people at this meeting, that they really wanted to solve this problem. So that's, I don't have anything else to report on it because I can't remember that accurately.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they're, pressing ahead on this. Was someone from our commission going to reach out to the Emerson Ombudsman? I don't see it in the minutes, but I had a note that I wrote down, but I didn't write down who. So maybe I didn't understand that. I think that still is a good idea if someone would like to reach out to the Emerson Ombudsman and ask, what that person's role is and whether they can assist with this.
I don't mind doing that.
Okay, thank you, Mary Beth. So, sounds like Janet and I will go to the meeting next week. I'll send the info I get about the meeting on to all of you if anybody else wants to jump on that meeting. Prior to the one they had yesterday, Franny was saying it would be at 11:30 next Wednesday. So we'll see if that actually is the case. Transportation, Meryl, I think you were going to reach out to the transportation committee.
I'm sorry, I didn't really have a chance to do that.
Okay.
I know everything is in a state of flux, and I was kind of surprised to hear that Steve Crane resigned. So I'm not sure what the transition really is going to be like. So unfortunately, I just haven't been able to have
Okay.
time to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's something, if it would be helpful, I could reach out. I think as of today, we've gone through all of our surveys and inspections and whatnot, and things will be a tiny bit quieter here.
Great.
At least not so crazy. I'm making a note for myself. Okay. So more to come on that once we hear from the Acton Commission and a little more from Emerson themselves. Junction Village traffic, the group had a meeting, a site walkthrough again. It was something I wasn't able to attend because we had inspectors here that day. I don't know if any of you all were able to attend that. No?
I was able to go to
Oh,
that.
good,
Yeah.
good.
You know,
I was there
And
too.
oh,
walk
good.
around. Yeah, I think that what was very apparent was that there's such a crunch of land that it's almost like who is going to be able to really figure this out. There were no answers, but it was nice to get a visual sense of where the problem really lies. And one of the problems is that there are different ownerships of pieces of this small property. And you know, if for instance, the Club Car Cafe could give up a strip of their land, but it gets confusing because the MBTA owns part of it. And I mean, it was kind of mind-boggling to hear it from other people. I'm not sure what the solution is going to be, but it was well attended, and I think, you know, it was a first step. Being able to sort of walk around it was helpful.
That's good. And anything, Susan, that you have to add to that?
No, I think Meryl captured all the main points, that it was confusing because of the multiple ownerships and the routing of the bike trail. And there weren't intended to be any solutions. As she said, it was a first step. So
Yeah, I walked that space myself a couple of weeks ago and, you know, also thought about it, gosh, if Club Car Cafe could give up some parking and maybe they could have a couple dedicated spots in the train parking lot for their customers. You know, but that does involve then the MBTA and all that craziness.
I did notice that there's a recording of the site walk on the Minuteman YouTube site. I didn't watch it yet, but I intend to. But if anyone else is interested in it, when I do locate it, I could just send it out to everybody.
Oh, that would be
To
great.
make it easy, because it's hard to find stuff, so.
Yes.
What was that, Mary Beth? Is a recording of what?
Of the Junction Park site walk that we were just talking about, that Merrill was at, and Susan Bates.
Susan. Mhm.
Yeah, that would be great, Mary Beth. If
Okay.
you'd be
Okay,
willing to send that out to everyone.
Yep. sure.
Okay. White Pond. So there's been some I guess concern raised by some citizens around the White Pond design. And I contacted Kate Hodges. I just got her voicemail, but I called today and to ask if either she could come to this meeting or to our January meeting. So hopefully she'll be able to attend our January meeting and give us an update on what's happening on White Pond. I think there's a petition that's being circulated and it to some degree misquotes the commission. So we will need to get that clarified. And, you know, I don't want to get into a big foray with the White Pond owners, property owners, and the people who are concerned. But we do want to make sure that we're being depicted correctly. Janet,
What is the petition? You said there was a petition.
it was kind of long, basically saying they didn't want the pathway, that long serpentine pathway down the hill. They didn't want that to be built, that they felt that it meant taking down some trees they didn't want to see removed, and making other changes to the hillside that they felt were not useful to them.
Was this petition directed toward us? I mean,
No.
it was just in general?
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
oh, okay.
I
So
suspect
it wasn't-
the concept is that it'll go to the select board.
I see.
Yeah, Susan.
Yeah, I have some information on that. There was a flurry of letters in the last week or so from concerned residents about they had started working on the hillside and took down some trees, and people were upset about that, although they were tagged, and also about the pathway. But the reality is this plan has been vetted many, many times in public hearings and supported with financing from two sequential town meetings and permits issued. So there, as far as I know, it's set in stone, no pun intended, that there has to be an ADA pathway.
Yeah.
That's the law. And so it has been designed, and it will be hopefully built by this fall and next spring primarily. And there has been intensive work on controlling the groundwater that flows down, and the replanting of native species and preserving as much of the ground as possible, and replacing trees. But the plan itself, I'm kind of surprised at this late reaction to it, because it's not a done deal, but on paper it is a done deal. And it will happen. So keep you posted.
Okay. Great, thank you. And I think what I will do is get in touch with the person that sent me the petition. And part of the sort of misquote of the commission, I think, was because our minutes were not posted on the town's website. We had a whole bunch of minutes that got missed on the town's website, and that the January meeting last year, when we looked at the designs and so forth, was one of the sets of minutes that was missing. So most of those are up on the website now, and there are a couple more that still have to get up there, but I think we're in pretty good shape now in terms of our minutes. So maybe if that person just goes back and reads the minutes that are correct, they can correct the petition a little bit.
I just have a question or a comment. I think that right now, if I haven't seen this, because I really can't get over there. But I think that they laid out the path with bales of, I don't know, those eco bays. And so if there's a possibility of us taking a look at it, it might be worth it. And Also, I don't think they've started to create the path, but it might be worth it to us to just stay on top of it before anything is finalized, to say, oh, this doesn't work or that. I mean, I don't know whether they really incorporated a lot of Jennifer's suggestions or suggestions that we gave them, collectively too, about pauses along the way with a bench and a rest area and maybe some activities. I don't know, it might be just worth asking them to come and go over it with us, because I think there was a lot of changes in design and meetings and everything from the time they've last met with us till now. So maybe we could just somebody could eyeball it. I don't know. I can't, but somebody could.
I'd be happy to get over there on a daytime weekend day and take a look at it this weekend or next. Jennifer?
So it might be more useful to have a record copy of the plans that they're using to do the construction, rather than just going over there and making assumptions about what we're seeing. My guess, what Susan was referring to is the erosion control on the hillside is going to be extremely important for all kinds of reasons. There's legal reasons. There's ecological reasons, and then there's cost reasons as well. So I don't think it's fair to go over and eyeball it without really knowing where they are in the process and what sort of things that they're doing to deal with the erosion on the site differently than the path construction. So and I don't know if that's where we want to spend our time. I agree that it would be wise, though. Mary Beth's correct. Like, a lot of things can change between the time we see those plans and it gets implemented. So it would be great to reach out to the town. Maybe Kate can bring the plans back so that we could look at them and see how many of our suggestions were taken to heart and implemented. It might just be worth at this time noting that, again, much to our chagrin, it's just the legal minimum that is required, right? And everything else is extra. And unfortunately, a lot of those extras don't feel like extras to people pushing baby carriages or with sensory disabilities or mobility disabilities or temporary or permanent challenges, have you. So that's unfortunate. And I think a lot of the comments that we had at our meeting when we saw those plans were in that extra category. So I think it's just useful to keep that in mind. There just one other correction. An ADA path is not required. ADA access is required. And so, as Susan was saying, the plan has been vetted many times, and I'm sure that the design team and the town, because this is on the town's responsibility, looked at how to create that access. And apparently, based on the plans, the path was seen as the best option. There are lots of options for creating accessibility, and it's not just physical accessibility, it's program accessibility. So if there are swim lessons being taught down at the pond, those swim lessons need to be available and accessible to everyone, more so than the access part. So the physical access part. So I think that's just a clarification that I want to make, that it's not necessarily the path. It's about the accessibility of everything that happens down at the pond. And how that happens, that was a choice, and the choice was to do a path. And the reasons why that happens are often related to budget, timeline, constructability, all of those things. So it's never a straight line from here to there.
That's really a really good point, Jennifer. And as you were talking about, it doesn't necessarily look like it will end up looking. Yeah, I was looking out the window today and it doesn't look like
Right.
they're working on the building of our oasis here next to our building, which when we get it done in the spring and ready to go, we'll invite people to come and see it, all of the commission. Because
Right.
several of you were really helpful in terms of contacting people in town around it. So thank you. I see a hand up. Is that
Yeah,
you?
that's
Lloyd?
me, Lloyd.
Hi, Lloyd.
So, Jennifer, if I've understood this correctly, the absurdity of this is there needs to be access and there needs to be access to programs, but not necessarily access to how people get from the access point to the program.
You got it. Most of the ADA is written that way.
Yeah, which seems absolutely
Crazy.
absurd.
It's totally crazy. So program access is actually, so for example, if you have a college classroom and you're teaching a class there, and you can't invite everyone, even those with disabilities, into that classroom, you either have to move the class to a location that you can teach it in, or you have to make that space accessible.
Mhm.
So it's not really about the space. It's about the program and having
Yeah.
access to the program.
Yeah,
So yeah,
thank you.
crazy.
I wanted to just ask about the people who are expressing new concerns at this point in time, and whether there's any way to sort of get them to understand some of those points about access. I really, you said it so well and in such an articulate manner that it frustrates me that the public doesn't always get it, and that they're now turning to our commission as the ones who are, quote, responsible for this plan. And it's I find it frustrating and wondered if there's any way to reach out to, the people who are sort of stirred up and wrote this petition. I don't,
Meryl,
hypothetical, maybe.
we professionally, not on this commission, but professionally, we worked with a lot of stirred up populations, and education is certainly an aspect of that. And I think our commission, that's one of the goals of our commission in general in Concord, is to
Right.
help people understand. So the minutes of this meeting, the minutes of past meetings, those are really helpful records. So I think we should acknowledge that. And then the other thing is that, change is hard. Change is hard, and it's always going to be hard. And I think coming at it with some calm, steady, level-headed, responses that are just helpful as we can be is really the best way to go at it. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, and as Susan pointed out, it's pretty much a done deal at this point. It's, it's had lots of public discussion. It's been vetted, it's been approved. They've got a building permit and they're going forward with it. Susan, I saw you had your hand up. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the Kate and Delia Kay, who's the NRC or Natural Resources Director, and Kate Hodges, the Deputy Town Manager, have spent many hours in the last couple of weeks responding to lengthy queries, and that's in a calm and reasonable way. But there's this little, there's definitely been a blip, and I'm not sure what the source of it was, but and we'd love to be able to be able to do that. And it may come up, the White Pond, their meeting is at the end of the month, White Pond. But a lot of these folks are not, these aren't members of the White Pond Advisory Committee. These are other people in the neighborhood. So I don't know what the source is, but the town staff keeps repeating the message, saying it over and over and over. So I'd love to have that magic wand thing happen.
Yeah, Mary Beth.
Just a question I have, just to clarify things about the programming versus the access to the site. So are you saying if hypothetically they didn't have any swim lessons there, they didn't have any programs, and all it was a beach where people went to swim with lifeguards, then they wouldn't need to provide access? Or is swimming with lifeguards a program?
That's right, Mary Beth. So it's not just the planned program, it's the unplanned program as well that's implied for all. Our lifeguards, I think, are taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I end up having to answer questions for a lot of these people. You know, I live on White Pond, I'm a resident. And so I feel a little bit, this is like a little weird for me because I feel like I'm the most visible disabled person in the neighborhood. And everyone is like throwing this stuff at me. And I'm just trying to be cool. And I'm just trying to deflect it back to the town and give them, you know. So but it is helpful to me when I decide to answer something that I get it right. So, so far I've been okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Ginger Quarles was going to join us tonight. I talked with her and she was very gracious and said she'd love to come and talk with the commission about what the programming for the Council on Aging in Concord does. So I don't know, something must have happened last minute. And I will invite her for January and see if she can join us then. Mary Beth, you have your hand up?
I'm sorry, that's left over. I did.
Oh, okay.
I'll lower it now. Sorry.
Okay. So we're kind of through our agenda. Lloyd, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just quickly.
Yeah.
I just found out, and I'm sure people probably know much more than I do, that there is a proposed development that would be in the area where Crosby's and CVS is, and would also include Thoreau Street. Do we know whether, as part of this proposal, attention has been paid to access to people who are limited, who are disabled? I don't know anything about this whole thing other than the signs I'm seeing to stop this project. Do people know more about this?
Okay, Susan.
Yes, I can tell you a fair amount about it. You may have seen on the front page of the Globe earlier this week, there was an article about state legislation that recently passed that requires cities and towns that have MBTA stations to provide affordable, I can't remember exactly what the term was, affordable or workforce or housing within half a mile of the train station. So the town, the planning board had started looking at this over a year, knowing this is coming down the pike, and just generally because we have a lot of housing needs anyway.
Right.
And they got a grant from the Massachusetts Area Planning Council, which has allowed them to develop this idea. Now, I'm just going to preface this by saying no property will be changed unless the owner wants to do it. So
Interesting.
this is an idea of what would it look like if the Crosby area looked differently and was multi-use, had housing and retail, and
Mhm.
and also on Thoreau Street, what would it look like if there weren't one-story buildings, but maybe two-story buildings? with
Right.
Retail and housing, but it's totally a concept. There's going to be a public hearing on it. The planning board is having one soon, and I don't know, have the
Okay.
date in my head, but
Yeah.
yes, there has been a lot of speculation about really what this is, and it's only an idea, and the
Mhm.
planning board will be possibly, which also has to go through town meeting, put, excuse me, zoning in place.
Okay,
So at some future time, this would be able to happen, but there's
Right.
nothing imminent.
so all these signs that say stop this project are, to say the very least, very premature.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Janet.
I just want to make a sarcastic comment. I think that all the negative about this project is a keep Concord the way it was in 1880 body of people. I think it's time to change that area, and I think this is
Yeah.
I think that especially the housing by the railroad tracks, I think is a fabulous idea.
Well, we'll see where all that goes.
That will not go in.
Yeah, it's good to know there's gonna be a public hearing now where it's early on,
Yeah.
before things do get sort of more
Mhm.
solidified.
And there have been a couple of public information sessions. One, I think I know it was pre-COVID because we were all in the Harvey Wheeler Center, and there were concept drawings, and people went around with, citizens went around with sticky tapes and said, oh, I like this style, I don't like this style, we should have X, Y, or Z in this space. And that was one of the public input sessions. And now this hearing will be having put all that together. This is what it might look like.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So under I guess the miscellaneous part of the meeting, Susan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but everyone has heard the news about Stephen Crane resigning and leaving at the end of December. And Wicked Local today said there were a couple of potential candidates for at least an interim position. Is there any information that you're reasonably able to share with this commission?
Well,
And
just
if there
that-
isn't, that's.
No,
you know.
I can tell you, some information that the select board and Stephen came to terms about the conditions of his resignation, and it is going to be effective December 31st. We started the discussion this past Monday about, and that, yes, it will be an interim, whether the length of time is to be determined, and there will be a search at some point too, but the acoustics, we were testing out the acoustics in the hearing room, and it was dreadful. People couldn't, I was online, so I heard everything, but anyway, the discussion's been continued until Monday. We weren't supposed to meet Monday, but we are going to meet because this is obviously a really time-sensitive issue. But there are 2 internal candidates that are qualified, and we're going to continue that discussion and hopefully make a decision on Monday. But there will be somebody holding the reins when Stephen leaves. We just don't quite know yet who, but there's definitely candidates and a process that will continue.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
I think it came as a surprise to lots of people.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So other things, anybody? Yes, Janet?
I just have a question. Did we ever get back to the library about the inaccessibility of that back entrance? You know, about did we ever get back to them after the mighty bush was blown away? Did we ever get back to them about putting the driveway up to the back door?
I did talk with Sherry Litwack about it. And she said she really didn't think that was likely to happen. And I had a conversation with Peter Nobile, just to, not officially, but just to sort of pick his brain about what would it take for the library to be able to do that. And his opinion was it would be incredibly costly. He thought it might cost as much as $50,000 to have the actual plans changed. That seems a little steep, but you know, I don't know. And then all of a sudden they had 4 trees planted in that spot. So I think that the
I'm really
chances,
disturbed about that. I think that to have the driveway already there and have no excuse not to have accessibility up to the back door, it just seems to me to be, I think, disgraceful. Very
Oh.
thoughtless.
yeah, and I think here we've got that same issue that Jennifer was talking about earlier, because the on-street parking that they are going to build does meet the ADA.
Yep.
So, you know, there's no teeth in it to try to get them to change, other than saying, would you please do this, because it will make a difference.
Well,
to
they already have
people.
the trees planted, you know, the bushes
Right.
planted. But now people with wheelchairs have to exit onto Route 62. I mean, you have to open your door onto Route 62, take your equipment out, walk the whole bloody path up to the back door, and they had the perfect way not to do that. That really ticks me off. That's my rant du jour.
Yeah, it does really seem like a lost opportunity.
Yep.
Mary Beth?
I have another item just to bring up, and that is that the town of Waltham is sponsoring a holiday light show on the grounds of the Fernald School again, in opposition to what a few different groups of disability activists have asked them to please not do that. And anyway, last year we did write a letter of support. They sent out an email asking people to do that again. And I don't know, maybe we could just recirculate the letter we sent out last year, update it and send it out again, just to support the idea.
Absolutely. I'm happy to pull up that letter and email it out to all of you. And then if there are comments or changes or anything that you would like to add, we can do that and send it off we sent it to the mayor of Waltham.
I think that's what they're asking, but I'd have to look at the email again. I forget what.
Okay.
Mary Beth, are
Janet?
we pro or con this show? What is the issue here?
We're against the show. The issue is that this is the site where hundreds of disabled children and adults
Yeah.
were kind of warehoused. Many of them died of neglect. They were subject to medical experimentation.
Yeah.
It was just a very dark period of history, of disability history.
Mhm.
And so there are people who are just trying to work towards, you know, truth and reconciliation. And this is kind of indirect. You have a light show there, and you know, you don't even have so much as a plaque in memory of the people who. So it's about that, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll send that letter out to everybody tomorrow. And just if you have comments, if you could try to get them to me by Monday, so that we can get it in the mail and get it to them while this is still a current issue? That would be helpful.
Okay.
Anything else?
You know, just in reaction to what you just said, Mary Beth, perhaps we could even in addition to repeating this letter, we could perhaps suggest that there be some acknowledgement of the past in the way of a plaque or some.
Well, that's
You know-
what people are working on. There's several working groups around this.
Really?
Some of them are working in the cemetery to try to identify bodies that were just buried without with numbers or. So there are people that are doing that. So it's just kind of.
I see. Yeah, I was just thinking that we should mention that we would support, more acknowledgement of
It
the
might,
past.
I mean, I think the letter that we wrote, I forget, but it might do that actually. But if it doesn't,
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah. If it doesn't, we can certainly add that. Yes, Susan.
I just found on the town calendar, the planning board public forum is going to be Tuesday, December 14th at 6:30 about the Thoreau area business district.
Okay, great. So if anyone's interested in attending that,
Can you say that again, please?
Yes, the planning board forum on the Thoreau business district is going to be held on Tuesday, December 14th at 6:30, and that'll be via Zoom.
okay, thank you. Anything else? Bonnie, I realized about halfway through the meeting, I didn't read the mission. So I'm going to try to remember to do that for next time. And a reminder for everyone, our next meeting is the first Thursday of January, not the second Thursday of January. So we'll be meeting on the 6th. And I asked the town to set up Zoom sessions all the way through June for us. So you'll be able to, put that meeting number and the password into your calendar or by your computer or whatever. So it'll be the same thing month after month for us. In February, we'll go back to the second Thursday of the month. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. Belatedly happy Hanukkah. And I hope everyone else has a wonderful holiday. I hope you get a chance to go out and see some lights, but not in Waltham. And enjoy the joy of the season.
I'm going to be away for 6 weeks, but I should be able to Zoom in.
Okay, great, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah, I guess we do need a motion. Are you
Move to
making that
adjourn.
motion, Mary?
I am.
And Susan
I'm gonna
seconded.
second, sure.
Okay,
Who seconded?
Susan,
Susan.
Okay. Adjourned at,
well, you have to ask people, Janet.
oh geez, I always forget that. Okay, me, yes, Susan,
Aye.
Jean,
Aye.
Richard, I'm Meryl,
Aye, yes.
Mary Beth,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Lloyd,
I think he's gone.
he's gone, Karen,
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
Okay,
Did you get Jennifer?
yeah,
Okay, oh, sorry, I missed that.
Yep.
All right, Well, have great holidays. Happy New Year. See you on the
Happy New
6th.
Year.